guys. Welcome in for another Monday midday cruise Q&A live. Appreciate you guys being here. My brain is a little foggy. I'm getting over the flu, so you probably can hear it in my voice, but appreciate you guys being here for another cruise Q&A. Sometimes that's a tongue twister, but appreciate you guys stopping in. Now, if you were here the last couple of weeks, we've kind of been adjusting the time, trying to figure out what time works best for you all, because we want to make sure that we're able to answer your questions and that this is going to be a good time for you to maybe pop in. We're doing this a little bit differently than our regular Tuesday cruise chats in the evening. We thought coming midday, we'd be able to touch you guys while you're at work or if you're at home, just to answer any cruise questions that you may have. And if you are new here, I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures, and we are a cruise vlogging family. I do a lot of solo travels. We do a lot of family travels. We just cruise and travel all the time. So if you are new here, we would appreciate if you would consider subscribing. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers here in 2025, currently at about 27,500 or so. And we want to see that our channel continues to grow. We want to take you guys along on the journey as we embark on, I think, 17 or 18 cruises here in 2025. So if you guys don't know, we also own our own travel agency, Major Adventures Travel, where we focus solely on cruises. I have been on 65 cruises. I'm actually supposed to be on a cruise right now, but I had to cancel because I have the flu, or I'm getting over the flu. So I had to cancel that cruise, but I've been on 65 cruises over the last 4 years. So kind of an expert when it comes to cruising. I've cruised all the major cruise lines: Carnival, Royal Caribbean, Disney, Virgin Voyages, Norwegian, MSC, and then some other cruise lines as well. So if you have questions about cruising, if I don't know the answer, I will find the answer. But if you have any questions regarding cruising, you can feel free to drop those in the chat. Now, this cruise Q&A is not specific to MH Family Adventures. It's more so to answer questions that you may have. We get a lot of questions, a lot of comments on our videos, as well as from people that are already booked on cruises that have questions. And we can't always answer those questions because, we're limited with time and things. And then we have clients that we have to serve. Things like that. So this is a 1-hour chat where you can ask questions. I'll try to get through as many questions as I can. So it can be anything cruise related. Let's see who we have here. Appreciate you guys being here. Right now we have 41 watching. Let me make sure we are live on Facebook. I think we went live on Facebook, possibly. Appreciate you watching wherever you are. If you are on Facebook, you can drop questions there. They should hopefully pop up on my screen here. But let's see who we have here in the chat. Let's see here. Savvy Voyages, welcome in. Welcome in. Appreciate you being here. You were here last week as well. Thank you so much for all your support. And Stuart, thank you so much for being here. Said off today. Glad to catch you live. We're glad to have you here live with us. Ellis McKinley, welcome in. Happy Monday to you. M. Rosser saying hello to everyone and everyone in the chat. The Manny channel, welcome in. Hello to you. Myers Mel, welcome in. Says, so glad that I can catch a few minutes during lunchtime. Yes. Ronald Britt, welcome in. Says, so glad to have this, a break from a ridiculous Monday work day. Appreciate you. Well, appreciate you being here, Ronald. And I do hope you guys are having a good start to your week. It's still cold here in Ohio. So, and again, I'm still getting over this flu that I've had. Let's see here. Which option is more price advantageous? Welcome in, Michael. Says booking solo or booking for two and canceling. No showing the second person. Very good question. We'll start there in a second. But before we get started, there was a question that was asked last week, and it was left as a comment that I wanted to make sure that I had a moment to address. So if for whatever reason I don't get to your question during the live stream, feel free to drop that as a comment and I'll try on the following Monday to come back to answer your question live. So there was a question asked last week regarding, I think I started talking about autism on the seas, and there was a question asked on whether the crew on board, the kids in the kids clubs on cruises, if they are trained to work with kids with special needs or disabilities. The answer to that is yes. Most cruise lines, the camp counselors are trained to work with individuals with disabilities to an extent. When we say that they are trained to help support, it is going to be somewhat your basic level of helping to like de-escalate, helping to find things that they may be engaged with, but it's not going to be like you might see if you're in school and you're, of course, with the teacher or paraprofessionals or therapists, things like that. But they are trained at a basic level to engage and interact with and support individuals with disabilities to an extent. What I recommend is if you have a child who has autism, you guys know our Andrew is autistic. He's enjoyed being in the kids and teens clubs over the last few years of cruising. What I recommend doing is as soon as you get on board, go check in with the kids club, the teens club, explain to them your child's individual needs, and they can let you know if they can accommodate. Most cruise lines, particularly like Carnival, Royal Caribbean, some of the major cruise lines, they are certified in what you call Culture City, which is a program that it's a resource for individuals that have processing disorders, sensory disorders that may benefit from having what they have, like a bag that you can check out that's complimentary, that'll have things such as sound canceling headphones, sunshades for lights. They'll even have a lanyard that'll say that, Culture City doesn't say this person has special needs, but the crew, they know that that individual may require some support, or if they see them around and they may need help, they kind of understand without saying. The question was also if my child is nonverbal. It's really one of those things where you have to understand your child's limitations and communicate that with the staff so that they understand how they best communicate, whether that's with cue cards, whether it is truly nonverbal. Our son communicates a lot via text. So that's something we would explain to the kids clubs, teens clubs, but just explain to them the situation. But yes, to answer the question, most of the staff, they are trained, but it is not going to be the level that you think it is. If your child or individual, family member, friend has more significant needs, there is an organization called Autism on the Seas, and they primarily work with Royal Caribbean, but they also sometimes work with Carnival and Disney Cruise Line, where they have select sailings. If you go to autismontheseas.org, I believe it is, you can see the sailings that they will have volunteers. I actually volunteered last year, where you will actually have trained teachers, educators, principals, therapists on board supporting families that have disabilities, where you'll have as the parent, adult, friend, whoever, you'll have some time to go off and explore the ship and have fun, have dinner, where the volunteers will offer respite and different things to help support. They'll also offer like pool time, where you're going to have that extra hand to help support so that you can have an amazing cruise as well as your family or friend member who does have a disability. So just wanted to share that because that was a question that was asked. But again, welcome into everybody that's here. We have 64 people watching. And again, if you're just popping in, this is our Monday midday cruise Q&A. I'm just here to answer all of your questions related to cruising. Feel free to drop those in the chat. I will get through as many as I can over this hour. If you are new here, please consider subscribing and please give this video a thumbs up. But back to Michael's question. Is it better to book solo or book for two and cancel the second person? Okay, so couple of things. So a lot of cruise lines don't offer solo pricing. You have to really search for those. If you're looking for solo cabin, solo pricing, you really want to book early because those sell out. And guys, I can tell you that I'm actually dealing with this right now with World America. I don't know if you guys saw the Super Bowl commercial that happened last night, or the three of them, I think, that happened last night. But I'm actually dealing with that right now with a couple of groups that I have where people are wanting solo cabins and they sell out so fast. So we're looking at like late 2026. MSC World America, solo cabins sold out. So if you want to book solo cabins that truly offer the solo pricing, not double occupancy, you want to book early. But to answer your question, it just depends because sometimes certain cruise lines, they're going to charge you that 200% or double occupancy to have one guest. Some cruise lines like Celebrity, which I think they've cut back a little bit on this, Celebrity will actually charge you more than double if you're solo. So you kind of have to just play with the pricing to see. Some cruise lines are also started trying to crack down last year on people that were booking and having someone like TBA or someone on the booking and then they would show up and be a no-show. Now, if someone is a no-show, you will get back the taxes, fees, port expenses, and gratuities that you might have paid for them. So you really just have to weigh the options on whether the solo pricing is better than the having two and having one person as a no-show. I can tell you that for our agency, for Royal Caribbean, we get a lot of discounted group rates. Those rates are only for two in a cabin. And a lot of times I will see that I have people that want to book solo all the time. They'll see that having one person in the cabin, booking it at the prevailing Royal Caribbean rate, mine might be $1,000 less booking two. So then they might put a second person that might show up at the port. And then once they get to the port, they'll just say they couldn't make it. And then they'll get back the taxes, fees, port expenses, and be locked into that lower rate. So you just have to really play with the numbers to see. But book early for solo cabins. Welcome in, Queen of Wands. Appreciate you being here. Parker's on the go. Happy Monday to you. Appreciate you being here. Jessica says, thank you so much for all this information. I'm going on my first cruise this year and I have gotten so much information from your vlogs, from your videos. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Hope you have a great time on your first cruise. That's always exciting. Welcome in, your favorite couple says, hey, MHFamilyAdventures in chat, listening in. Well, we appreciate you guys listening in on your lunch hour, your Monday. I know Mondays are usually pretty packed at work, so we appreciate you guys spending some time with us to talk about cruising, to answer your questions. Tamara, welcome in, says soda package charges. What are the small charges on my bill? So if you have a soda package, and it depends on the cruise line, for the most part, you're already paying gratuities on the soda package. Sometimes with certain cruise lines, they may add on a service charge that you see on your receipt. Keep in mind, and it depends on the cruise line. Sometimes you're not actually paying for that at the moment. It was already factored into your soda price or your soda package price. You can just put zero and sign. Some cruise lines, you don't even get a receipt. Like I know MSC, if you have a soda package, you don't get a receipt. It's done. Um, but yeah, if you prepaid for your soda package, you really shouldn't be paying any extra service fees or anything like that each time you get a soda. You can zero it out, sign it, and tell them that you don't want to tip additional, because sometimes people don't understand that with drink packages, your gratuities are already covered. And Carnival's notorious for it. They're going to give you a receipt, whether it's soda or alcohol. They're going to give you a receipt to sign. And some people don't realize they've already paid their gratuities and they go onto that line and add more. You don't have to do that. So if you see any charges and you have a package, you can zero it out, ask them, what is this for? But you shouldn't be paying anything else because it is factored into your soda package. Um, Carla, welcome in, says, on Princess, can I remove the package before final payment? Are you referring to Princess Plus, Princess Premier, I'm assuming? If you guys aren't familiar with Princess Plus, Princess Premier, I do have a couple of videos on it, but they offer an amazing value. It's where you're going to pretty much get an all-inclusive experience as far as having everything packaged or all-inclusive experience where you're gonna have everything packaged for your cruise, such as your prepaid gratuities, drink package, Wi-Fi, specialty dining, casual dining, specialty desserts, Wi-Fi, all of that stuff. And they have two different levels, the Plus and the Premier. If you have not made your final payment, yes, you can cancel off your Princess Plus, Princess Premier. Princess Plus is currently running $60 per person per day. Princess Premier is running $90 per person per day. So yes, you can remove it from your cruise in advance. Keep in mind though, a couple of things. Sometimes you have a special promotion that already includes it. Sometimes you add it on later. If it was already part of your promotion, it's possible that if I'm telling you that it's $60 per day per person, it doesn't necessarily mean that your cruise is going to drop that much, because now you're going to be repriced at the new cruise rate, if that makes sense. So something that travel agents know. So just be cautious depending on how you added that on. Your cruise cost could be higher now because they have to go back in to reprice it to the prevailing rate. But yes, you can remove it. And actually, I think Princess Plus, Princess Premier, you can remove it up until about a week before your cruise. You don't have to keep it, but you can't cancel it once you get on board. Welcome in, Tara. Appreciate you being here. Team Menard says, how do I get in touch with you to book a cruise? You can check out our website, majoradventurestravel.com. You can also send an email. The email I thought was going across the screen. It's not. Cruise at majoradventurestravel.com. You can also, if you send me a message on social media, usually I'll refer you to send it to via email because I get a lot of inquiries via social media. So you can go on the website. There's a contact button there. There's an inquiry form. If you need us to do some research for you, then fill out the inquiry form. If you email me and say, hey, I need help finding a cruise, I'm just going to refer you back to the inquiry form because that helps keep us organized with the number of inquiries that we get. But we would love to help you. So definitely reach out. Welcome in, Danielle. Appreciate you being here and the 80 other people watching. Thank you so much. Rich Escapes, welcome in. Yes, I am feeling better. Still a little bit under the weather. You probably can hear it in my voice. Excuse me. But I thought since I couldn't go on my cruise today, which I should have boarded yesterday, that I would go ahead and I didn't have this originally scheduled. I figured I would go ahead and go live. Ingrid says, counting down on my first Royal Caribbean cruise and here to absorb all the info I can. Well, feel free to ask any questions you might have about Royal Caribbean. Welcome in, Marjorie. Appreciate you being here. All right, I'm just scrolling. Everyone, hello, hello, hello. Welcome in, Team Reese Travels. Ingrid says, well, I know theme nights prior to departure. Curious about what to pack for Royal Caribbean. So, um, some cruise lines, most cruise lines now do not advertise the exact days or the exact themes that will be available on board. And they do that because things could change and they don't want people to go out and buy things and then you don't have that theme night. But in general, you're going to have, of course, a formal night, at least one, depending on the length of your cruise. So you'll need to pack something that's kind of formal, semi-formal. Know that people don't always get too formal on like Royal Caribbean and Carnival, some of the more entry-level cruise lines. But dress your best. If you want to dress it up, then you can do that. But there will be at least one formal night. Usually there will be some sort of like white night. So I would say, pack something white. Oftentimes there is like a 70s, 80s, 90s theme night. Usually I think Royal Caribbean is more 70s, 80s. And then they'll also have like some sort of tropical night. So try to pack along those lines. It's very difficult to plan because you sometimes don't see that schedule in advance. Although Royal Caribbean is pretty good about, if you log into the Royal Caribbean app, you can start seeing some of the activities on board the ship before you sail. Whereas like Carnival, you have no clue what's happening until you get on board. So I would recommend logging onto the Royal Caribbean app and like maybe 30 days away from your cruise, then you can kind of scroll to see what activities they have. So then you have an idea of what those exact nights are. But usually if you pack something tropical, something white, your formal nights, something decades theme, you're usually gonna be pretty good to go. Also, something else you can do that will help you plan for that is go on Facebook and join the Facebook group for your sailing. You can join your group and then join the group before yours because people will start talking on that group and you can ask questions to say, hey, I'm boarding next week. What were the theme nights for your cruise? Or even you can even schedule it, find a group that was like a month before yours because they're going to start talking in that group and then you're going to get a better idea of what those exact activities are. Welcome in Big Murph's Life. Appreciate you being here. Let's see here. Tamara says, so I can get something saying my son adult is autistic. So yeah, so if you go to either the guest services or the kids club, you can ask, can I check out a Culture City bag? And they will give you a Culture City bag. It does not say my child is autistic on it. Privacy reasons, things like that. But it will say Culture City. It's like a little emblem. I think it's like a heart and it has headphones, but it tells the crew that your child has autism or developmentally delayed or has some sort of disability. They may not know exactly what that is, but the system, once you make your booking, your travel advisor, if you guys need help, reach out to me. They will notate on the booking that your child has a developmental disorder, autistic, what have you. So they can see it in the system, but you don't want to have something that says I'm autistic, right there. But they know what that Culture City sign means. Stacia, welcome in. Is it Demonic Reed says, hello, I'm visually impaired. So is there services that I can use to assist me to various activities? So if you are visually impaired, I definitely recommend reaching out to the guest access department for whatever cruise line that you're looking at, because they do have some cabins that can assist those that are visually impaired. You can ask for like larger print menus, things like that. So you can, just contact your travel advisor. It depends on the ship, depends on the cruise line. They do offer special services. Now, as far as getting you to various activities, I'm not aware of any service that provides that. I do know that those who are might need like translation services. Sometimes cruise lines will offer things like that. But as far as getting you to and from various activities, I am not familiar with anything for that. But if there's a travel agent or someone in the chat that might know, feel free to drop that there. Mammy Channel says, you're an awesome educator in the travel world. Thanks for all you get. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And says, I've inspired you to start your channel. Well, congratulations on, I think you started a while ago, but congratulations on starting your channel. And I do hope it's going well. And again, if you are just now popping in, we have 87 people watching. Appreciate you guys being here. I'm RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures. And this is our Monday Midday Cruise Q&A, where I'm just answering any and all questions that you have about cruising. So if you are new here, please consider subscribing to our channel and give this video a thumbs up for us. Welcome in, Keisha H. Appreciate you being here. She says, I am listening and learning. So yeah, if you have questions related to cruising, feel free to drop those. Olga says, hey, RacQuelle, hope you are feeling better. Thanks for the video on the importance of travel insurance. Yes. So I think I've had the flu now for almost a week. And I did a video about me testing positive for the flu. And I wasn't really worried because I had a cruise coming up because I had travel insurance. And guys, when I tell you I've had so many questions about travel insurance since I posted that video, it's one of those things where because I'm a certified travel advisor, I am not a certified insurance agent. So I can't give you specifics on insurance. I can't tell you which insurance you should get over the other. Travel insurance is truly a personal decision, and it depends on how much you're willing to risk. If you something happens, you have to cancel, or you get injured, or something happens. So it's truly a personal decision. But the travel insurance companies, they're pretty good about breaking down what you receive as far as your benefits with the different options. So definitely recommend always having travel insurance. I do have an annual policy, and then at times I do add on a secondary policy depending on the expenses or how expensive the trip is. But yeah, so I've already filed my claim, and my claim is in processing, and I'll get refunded because I tested positive for the flu. Let's see here. Mamie Chan says, can you give more information on the special needs cruise you volunteer for? So it's not a specific cruise. It's an organization called Autism on the Seas. And they offer, I don't know, maybe 100 sailings throughout the year where they will have volunteers that are certified educators, therapists, that have been background checked, that will volunteer and help support families of individuals with autism, developmental disabilities, things like that. So check out Autism on the Seas. They have all of the sailings there. If you want to volunteer, if you're an educator, you can volunteer on a cruise, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I do hope to volunteer again this year. It was just, I think the time that I did it last year, it was during wave season. It was a very busy time. And as a volunteer, you are truly dedicated and committed to those families, which if I'm going to sign up, I'm all in. And it's really just helping and supporting. So if you are someone that could benefit from having someone, whether it's a one-on-one support or the way most people use Autism on the Seas, it's two families to one volunteer. They're there to help support you. So reach out to Autism on the Seas. And again, it's not a specific cruise. It's an organization that works with Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Disney. Ronald says, is it me or has Royal Caribbean pricing gone up? I was loyal to Royal, but they have forced me to step out. Yes, absolutely. He said, which I was nervous about, but it has been great trying lines I never considered. Now, I think, did you get off MSC recently? I think you shared that you booked MSC and tried MSC for the first time and you were impressed. I think that was you. But yeah, pricing is going up across all cruise lines. So yeah, definitely. And speaking of MSC, guys, you saw the commercial last night with World America. Right now, the pricing is still pretty reasonable for World America. I can imagine that with everything that happened with the Super Bowl, MSC is really getting the word out about World America. I I have a sneaky suspicion that the pricing is going to go up because with supply and demand, that's what happens. But I also think their overall pricing is going to increase here soon. So if you want to give MSC a try, you can feel free to reach out to me. I am a top sales agent with MSC Cruises. I would love to help find something for you. They offer great value with drinks, Wi-Fi, all of that included. So definitely reach out. And I will actually be on board MSC World America for the media sailing, which is happening before the inaugural. And I will be on the inaugural. So you'll have plenty of content. I'll be going live during the ship tour. So, and we have a group cruise on MSC World America for this Christmas. So if you want to give them a try, reach out to me. But let's see here. Scott says, recently found your channel and I love it. Have been binge watching every video. Well, we appreciate all of your support. It really does help our channel. And I hope that you find the information helpful. Welcome in, Denisha. Appreciate you being here. Yes, I am feeling a lot better. Thank you so much. Welcome in, Satin Jazz Lady, Carla J. Mammy Channel says, any thoughts on Carnival Horizon? No issues with Carnival Horizon. I sailed on Carnival Horizon July of 2024. And yeah, no issues. Carnival Horizon it's not a new ship for Carnival, but it's in one of its newer classes. I think it's a great size ship. It offers plenty of food options. Really, honestly, no complaints about Carnival Horizon. Welcome in, Shell. Appreciate you being here. Kyle David says, trying to get more people to go on our 26th cruise. Yeah, well, I appreciate you, and I appreciate you sending them my way. Travel Cake Trips, welcome in. Appreciate you guys being here. It says, for solo first-time cruisers, what cruise line and or destination would you recommend? First time solo cruiser, I would say you need to find a cruise line that's going to be worth, I mean, looking at the pricing so you're not paying double occupancy. I think if you can find a cruise line that has a true solo or studio cabin, you're more likely to continue solo cruising because it's more affordable. So I would say Virgin Voyages, because they do offer studio um, and insider cabins as well as sea view cabins, which, guys, they're really small cabins, but it serves its purpose. So I would say Virgin Voyages if you don't mind adults only. NCL offers a lot of solo cabin pricing. And when I say solo cabin pricing, it's not the double occupancy. It is a lower rate because it's a true solo cabin. Those would be the top two that stand out for me. I would also say, as a solo cruiser for the first time, doing one of those cruise lines where you're going to go to one of their private destinations, if you are nervous or hesitant at all about going solo, that's probably going to be the best thing to do. Now, my first solo trip was on MSC. MSC also has some solo cabins, especially on their newer ships like MSC Meraviglia, MSC Seashore, Seascape, some of those ships, and World America and World Europa. They have solo cabins. I would say a destination that, if it's a private island, you're going to feel a lot safer because it's like you're going to be kind of limited on what you can do. So I would say do something that you feel safer doing, or maybe something more comfortable. If you've already been to the Bahamas, maybe try going to the Bahamas solo for the first time and see how that feels before you branch off. I went solo in Greece as my first abroad trip, and I was nervous. It was a lot. Had an amazing time. I don't know if I would recommend something like that for a first time solo cruiser. So something you're comfortable with, but definitely Virgin Voyages, NCL, MSC. Royal Caribbean will have some of their classes of ships will have some studio cabins, but they're very, very limited. So you have to book early to get those. Let's see here. Natural Health says, hi, everyone. I found out last week that some countries, such as Europe, are requiring that your passport must be at least 6 months from the expiration. Can you talk about this? Yeah, that's been standard. That's not a new thing. What Natural Health, and I should be putting these up on the screen. What Natural Health, Natural Beauty is referring to is your passport. People think that the expiration date on the passport is that. So if my passport says it expires, I don't know, March 31st of 2025, I can travel today. That is incorrect. Um, Most countries require that your passport is valid for at least 6 months beyond the time that you return back to the US. So you have to always make sure that you're not waiting till the last minute to renew your passport, and that you have at least 6 months of wiggle room by the time you land back. That's not the time you leave for your trip, it's the time you come back to the States. You have to make sure that your passport is valid, because if not, and you're in your mind, you're thinking, yeah, my passport doesn't expire for another 4 months. But no, it truly has expired because most countries require that you have at least 6 months left on your passport. So renew early. That way you don't run into that issue. And then, speaking of renewing things and making sure you're able to travel, guys, you have to get the real ID. I'll be doing a quick video on this sometime this week about it, but you have to get your real ID by May 7th, I believe it is. You won't even be able to get to your cruise ship because you can't take a domestic flight. So if you don't have a valid passport, again, valid passport meaning doesn't expire for at least 6 months, then you need to be sure to have the valid ID because you won't even be able to get on a flight. So make sure you make that happen. And I know that's been something that they've been talking about for some time, and they keep pushing the date back as far as when it's due, but it sounds like May, I think it's May 7th, May 4th or May 7th, that you have to have it or you won't be able to travel. Let's see here. Michael says, what cruise line do you think has the best loyalty program? I'm going to say MSC. Excuse me. I'm going to say MSC. Well, let me say this. I think Royal does, if you are a high tier with Royal with the Diamond Plus, because you get drinks, you get things included. But for me, I'm going to say MSC because they do offer status match. And with MSC's loyalty programs, like I'm at the highest tier for MSC's loyalty program, you're going to get things such as you're going to get a bottle of wine in your cabin. You're going to get a 1-hour thermal spa pass. You're going to get specialty dining for 2 people. So one specialty dining option for 2 people. You're going to get like little goodies and things in your cabin almost every day. You're going to get discounts off your cruises, things like that. So I feel like they have the best bang for your buck, especially if you not price match in, if you status match in to MSC. I think you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. Comparing it to like Carnival, being a high tier for Carnival, you're not getting a whole lot. You're going to get laundry, which is nice. MSC doesn't have laundry. You get a discount off laundry. But I would definitely say for me, MSC has the best loyalty program as far as the perks and benefits that you can get. I'm not a high tier yet with Royal Caribbean, so maybe that might change once I'm a high tier with Royal Caribbean, because you do get the free drinks. But yeah, welcome in, Game Changer. Appreciate you being here. Hope you guys are doing well. Let's see here, Miss Gloria Jackson, welcome in. Cassandra, welcome in. Devo Lover, welcome in. Hope you are doing well as well. Thank you so much. Lynn says you're doing an amazing job. I appreciate that. T Milton, good afternoon to you. Bubbity Williams, what are your thoughts on flying into Fort Lauderdale and cruising out of Miami, and best way to do it? That's how I do it. For us, now it could vary depending on where you're flying from. It usually is cheaper to fly into Fort Lauderdale than it is to fly into Miami. Same way leaving out. Every so often I might find a deal where it works out better to fly straight to Miami, but usually flying into Fort Lauderdale is going to be a lot cheaper. So what I usually recommend to my clients is flying in to Fort Lauderdale, but depending on the flight time, possibly staying in Miami. And I say that because I feel like the hotel prices near Miami Airport, they're cheaper than Fort Lauderdale's airport. So what I recommend is, if you fly into Fort Lauderdale, you can get to Miami Cruise Port, or you can get to the Miami Airport area a couple of different ways. You can Uber or Lyft, which that's usually how we do it because it's quickest and easiest. You can, of course, add on the cruise line's transfer service if it's the morning of your cruise or the day of your cruise. I don't always recommend that unless you're solo, because you could pay easily $40 per person just to get there. And if you have a family of 5, that's $200. You probably can do an Uber XL for $80. So, you can Uber or Lyft. You can also take the Flixbus, which is a cheap bus. It's about $10, I believe now. That will get you from Fort Lauderdale Airport to Miami Airport. And then let's say you're staying at a Miami Airport hotel, you can get the free shuttle from your airport hotel to your hotel, and then the next morning or what have you for your cruise, you can Uber, Lyft, or what have you. So yeah, flying into Fort Lauderdale is usually 9 times out of 10 cheaper than Miami, and then you just have to figure out how to get there. And if you guys don't know, Fort Lauderdale and Miami, it's about a 40-minute ride, so not a very far distance, and you can Uber it, take a Lyft. I do get, as I think I got a couple emails today about a company in Miami that transports. I honestly don't have a connection or a strong connection with a company in Fort Lauderdale or Miami that transports. There's a lot of ma and pa type transportation services in those spots, and none of them have been pretty consistent enough for me to say that this is the one that I recommend. Like, I recommend Cruise Control Transportation in Port Canaveral. I don't have one of those yet in Fort Lauderdale or Miami. So I'm going to say Flixbus, Lyft, Uber, or the cruise line transportation services. There are other options, but that's just kind of, my thoughts. But flying in is definitely a lot cheaper. Let's see here. Trina, welcome in. Says, hi, RacQuelle. What are your thoughts on purchasing flights via the cruise line versus purchasing direct? Good question. So for me personally, I almost always purchase them directly. The benefit of purchasing flights with the cruise line, a couple of things. Most cruise lines will allow you to add on the flight, and you can make payments on your cruise total, your flight total over time. So if I'm booking out for next March, if flights are available, I can go ahead and book my cruise, add on like Carnival's Flight of Fun program to my cruise, and my flight price is not due until my cruise is due in most cases. So some people like that because they want to be able to get a bulk sum. They want to be able to say, this is the total cost of my trip, and I can make payments on it. Where I don't like doing that is that more than likely, if you're booking that far out to where you can make payments, your flight cost is probably higher booking through the cruise line than if you would wait till closer to your sailing. So rule of thumb is if you're looking to book domestically, 2 to 4 months is usually when you want to book your flight, 2 to 4 months before your flight. If you're flying internationally, it's like 3 to 6 months, but sometimes it just varies. So if you add it onto your cruise total, you probably could have gotten a better deal by booking directly. But the benefit is that if you book it with the cruise line, in the event that your flight is canceled, delayed, or anything like that, you do have like built-in insurance with the cruise line, meaning they're going to try to fly you to the next port if they can. If the flight cancels, you're going to get a refund of your cruise, and they're going to do their best to try to find other alternatives for you as far as getting you to the cruise. So there are benefits of that. I have some, especially like some clients that are a little bit older, that they don't want to have to deal with the hassle of having multiple people or points of contact. Because our agency does not book flights unless it's like with the cruise line. So some people like to just have that one point of contact, that one, just makes it easier. I would say, yes, you could do that. Thank you so much, Gerald D. Anderson, for becoming a channel member. We appreciate your support. And welcome to the family. So yes, so I personally, I never book the cruise lines flights. I always just book them right before my trip. But if you want that built-in insurance, especially for someone that doesn't get insurance, just know that if your flight is canceled, delayed, that the cruise line's going to do their best. Now, there are some exceptions to this. I personally never recommend NCL's flight program, and that is because there's never any guarantees. They're not going to guarantee that you can select the airline of your choice. If you're traveling with a family, as far as getting seats together, I've had clients that have booked it and then they weren't able to sit together. I've even had clients that were booked on the same trip with NCL and they would have different flights. And so it's always a hot mess dealing with NCL with flights. So I personally would never recommend them for flights, and that's like a consensus across a lot of travel agents. But booking directly for me is the way to go. But I understand why some people do book with the cruise line. Let's see here. Mama Imani, welcome in. Says we are planning a trip on Virgin Voyages in the summer. One member has mobility issues. Any suggestions or recommendations to assist when booking to make their trip as smooth as possible? Absolutely. Use a travel advisor. Travel advisors can assist getting you booked, also connecting you with and making the request on your behalf to the accessibility team, where they will make sure that whatever you may need in your cabin, whether it's, and people don't realize, like, you can get certain things in your cabin, like you can get a shower stool, you can, even if you don't have an accessible cabin, you can ask for firmer pillows or more pillows if you need that. There's different things that you can ask for that some people don't realize. So if you have a travel advisor who understands that, accessibility and making accommodations, that's the first step. But also book early, because accessible cabins are very limited across pretty much most ships. So if you have certain needs, like if you need a cabin that's going to have a little more space to get around because maybe you have a wheelchair or scooter, then you need to make sure you book early so you can get guaranteed one of those cabins. Also, if you plan to rent a scooter, you need to make sure you do that in advance as well. There are companies such as a Scootaround and Special Needs at Sea, where you can rent scooters and different things. So I would say make sure you get all of that added on, because that is an additional cost. I think I've had some clients and some people that have reached out thinking that the cruise lines provide wheelchairs and scooters. They do not. You have to rent those in advance, and then they'll either be ready for you in your cabin when you get on board the ship, or they'll be in the terminal. So whatever your needs are, you can communicate that with your travel advisor, or if you're booking directly, you need to contact the guest access. They call them different departments for each cruise line. I always say guest access. And they can direct you on what you need and what you can, types of requests that you can make. It's also important too, when you are working with a travel advisor, because I get this a lot, like my inquiry form asks, does anyone require any special accommodations? That's when you answer that question. A lot of times people say no, and then before they travel, they say, oh, I needed an accessible cabin. Well, that's what that question was asking. So make sure that if you ever see that question, does anybody require an accessible cabin? Does anybody require special accommodations? That you are answering those questions. And whether it be that you need an accessible cabin, or maybe you have a child that has autism, or someone traveling has some sort of disability, or maybe you need a shower stool, or, grab bars in the cabin, things like that. Make sure you let your travel advisor know. Ingrid says, are there any cruise lines that you do not recommend or that is at the bottom of your list? There's not any cruise line that I'll say I do not recommend. And I say that because everyone's different. There are some that I just don't necessarily prefer over others. But I'm not going to say that I'm going to highly recommend a cruise line, but I'm never going to say there's a cruise line at the very bottom of my list and that I would not share with others. Now, I will always share my personal experience and my thoughts on the cruise line. But thank you so much, Angela, for subscribing. I appreciate that. And while we have 114 of you guys watching, if you are new here, I am RacQuelle from MHFamilyAdventures, and this is our Monday Midday Cruise Q&A, where I'm answering all of your questions related to cruising. I have been on 65 cruises. I am a certified travel advisor who focuses on cruises. We have our travel agency, Major Adventures Travel, where we only sell cruises. And so pretty much an expert when it comes to cruising, so I can answer your questions. So I'm doing that live on Mondays when I am not traveling. So as far as cruise lines that I personally don't care for, but I always give cruise lines a second chance. It used to be Virgin Voyages. I have since taken 2 trips since my first trip, and I enjoy Virgin Voyages now. I think sometimes there's a time and place for certain cruise lines. And so Virgin has come back at a good time. And so I'm enjoying Virgin Voyages. But the cruise line that I'm still kind of questionable about, that I personally, it's just not my vibe, is Norwegian. So NCL. It's just not my vibe. I will be on Norwegian Aqua here soon. If you guys don't know, that is its newest ship that's setting sail in April. So I will be on board Norwegian Aqua to give them another try. But NCL is just not my speed because it's very, very relaxed cruising. And I just like, for me, the food just is okay. It's just a little too slow paced for me. So, but that works for some people. So it really just depends on what you're looking for out of your cruise. So I make recommendations based on what you share with me as far as what your cruising style is. So there have been people that I've said, yes, I recommend NCL for you because they want a slower paced cruise. They want to have the drinks, Wi-Fi, all of that stuff included. So, it just depends. But yeah. There's really not one that I would say absolutely will never, ever get on again. Welcome in, Michelle Lewis. Appreciate you being here watching from Facebook. Felicia Bell, welcome in. Let's see here. Raleigh Travel says, I see you did a video on Carnival Sunrise, which I will watch. Until then, would you give it thumbs up or thumbs down? Thumbs up. Thumbs up on Carnival Sunrise. I've been on it 3 different, sorry guys, hold on a second. You guys don't know, I'm getting over the flu, so I'm still kind of trying to stay hydrated. I give it a thumbs up. Carnival Sunrise for me, if you ever go on Carnival's website and you look to see what the cheapest cruises are, it's always going to be Carnival Conquest and Carnival Sunrise. I feel like Carnival Sunrise gives you the better ship out of like Carnival Sunrise, Carnival Conquest. It is a great entry level ship. It has enough dining options. It's not a really large ship. It's not a really small ship. I know that last year it had a bad rep because it was having some heating and cooling issues. But the 3 times that I've sailed on Sunrise, I had an amazing time. Really no major complaints. I think it's a really great entry level Carnival cruise ship compared to some others. Like if you're getting on like some of the older ships like Paradise or Elation, which I think those are nice ships. They're very charming. I like the older ships, especially when I do just want to relax and not have like a mega ship that I have to go, across, So I like the older ships. Some people don't. I think Carnival Sunrise is that perfect, like mid-level ship, and the price is always right for Carnival Sunrise. So for that reason, I give it a thumbs up. I have a lot of families that cruise on Carnival Sunrise, a lot of first-time cruisers that cruise on Carnival Sunrise, and a lot of budget cruisers that cruise on Carnival Sunrise. And I always recommend it. And I have quite a few groups going this year and next year on Sunrise. So my thumbs are up for it overall. Let's see here. Wanda, welcome in. Says, how comfortable are you cruising in September during hurricane season? Well, keep in mind, guys, hurricane season is not just September. Hurricane season goes from June through November. So if you're cruising it in summer at all, you're cruising during hurricane season. I can tell you that there's only been one time that I was ever involved in like even rocky weather during hurricane season, and that was on board Margaritaville at Sea Islander, which was in June. And that was the only time I could say was kind of unbearable, but we were safe. The ship was just rocky. I'm comfortable cruising year round. So I understand some people don't, but just keep in mind that September is not. Pretty much June through November is hurricane season. A hurricane can happen at any time, but know that the cruise lines are going to do what they can to keep you safe. They're going to, reroute. They're going to go, if they have to cancel ports, they will. They're going to do what they can to keep you safe. And they're on top of that. They have the science, the tools to know kind of where to go, how to avoid it. Can get a little rocky, so make sure you pack, seasickness meds, eat green apples, things like that to help with that. Um, and then I would also say, use a travel advisor to book your cruise during hurricane season because we can help find the best cabins for you. You want to make sure that you're midship, lower level. That way, it's a little bit less movement. People, because this is always a debate, either on social media or sometimes I get clients saying, I have motion sickness. I want to go to a high deck. That is not how it works. If you think about where a boat is, or a boat, ship, that's another thing. Don't call a ship a boat. The ship, if you think about how a ship is laid out, the front of the ship is always going to get the most motion. You're going to get the most wind at the front of the ship because it kind of tunnels in. And then if your cabin is midship, kind of closer to the water level, you're going to get less movement than if you're up higher. And it's just the way, I guess, buoyancy, however that works. So you want to be mid-level, midship, meaning towards the center of the ship on a lower deck during the summer, during hurricane season. That's going to limit in the event that um, you experience some bad weather. But I've been on 60, 65 cruises. I'm prepared to go on my 66th cruise here really soon. And I've only had that one time out of all these cruises. And majority of my cruises happen during hurricane season. Let's see here. Sasha says, I'm just getting on for a few. Unsure if you know this or said this to a viewer whom asked about autism, but we were on the Venecia this past New Year's Eve cruise. And when we went to see the teen lounge, they had a special lower deck hallway that had specific cabins for families, which may need way less noise and crowds. Good to know. Thank you for sharing that. Yep, absolutely. Dennis, welcome in, says, hi, RacQuelle, to the person asking about Horizon. It was one of my favorite. Yes, and Dennis, thank you for booking with me. I appreciate that. He says, we have been on all three of the XL ships, and I still enjoy the Horizon. Yeah, if you've been on Celebration, Jubilee, Mardi Gras, and you want a smaller ship, Horizon's going to be great. Panorama's going to be great. Vista, although Vista's been having some turbulence issues. There's another one. So yeah, so the class under the Vista class that's under this XL class. They're really nice. They're a nice size ship. Welcome in, BL. Appreciate you being here. Tracy F, welcome in. Sasha says September is a good month. Been twice. The only issue is we got off 4 hours later. Good point. Good point Sasha brought up. So during hurricane, and this can happen anytime. It is not just hurricane season. You don't book flights early. Now, I sometimes book flights early, but I always say, do as I say, not as I do, because I do this often. And if I miss my flight, I have usually a backup plan. So I chance it. I don't recommend that to clients and people that don't travel as often. But also know this, during hurricane season, um, you know, it can happen anytime. There's been times where there was maybe an incident or a medical thing that happened on the ship that the ship had to go back out to sea. You could be delayed reporting back in. And if you have an early flight, you may miss your flight. So, and the cruise line technically does not have to reimburse for that. And in most cases, they do not. Sometimes, depending on the circumstance, they may offer like a $200 credit per person if you had to change your flight or you missed your flight. But usually you don't get that immediately. It happens after you file a claim and this and that if you don't have insurance. So that's why it's important to have insurance. You just never know what'll happen. I've only had it happen once where we were late getting back to port, but thankfully we had like a 1 o'clock flight, so it didn't affect us. Let's see here. Carolyn says, good afternoon, everyone. Will MSC allow you to bring drinks back on the ship from Nassau? They don't really monitor it as much as they do when you're first embarking on the ship. I've had no issues bringing things back on from Nassau, from any port. You can't bring food back on. So if you go get some comforters or whatever, and then you're trying to get back on the ship with that, they will not allow that. But if you have like a canned soda or juice or anything like that, and it's in your bag, they're not going to have you take it out. I almost guarantee it. I've never had that happen. Um, yeah, that's never been an issue. But usually embarking the ship, they will kind of search for that. They don't really have the time to do that when you're getting back on the ship, because usually there's a long line. They're trying to make sure people get back before the back on board time. And almost everyone has drinks getting back on the ship or getting off the ship, because, you know, you're in the Caribbean, it's hot. So they're not going to filter through everyone's drinks to see what you have in your bottle, or, you know, bringing the drinks back on board. Now, if you're coming back on with like just like a paper cup from a restaurant or something, they may have you toss that out. But if you have your own thermos, like I might get back on the ship with my cup, they're not going to ask me what's in my cup. Usually they'll have you put it on top of the x-ray machine, and slide it by, and it's never an issue. Let's see here. Thank you, Daphne. Appreciate that. Welcome in, Carlene. See what's see. Appreciate you being here. JP says, thoughts on the Norwegian Prima class. Will you be going on the Aqua? So I was on Norwegian Prima during its inaugural sailing out of Galveston. Was that 2 years ago? And I honestly, I loved Norwegian Prima, but after I was on it, now I thought more about it. And I think what I liked about Norwegian, it was my first time on Norwegian. The food on Prima was so good. And I think it was because of the indulge food hall. So I can tell you this, I am going to be on Aqua, and that is the thing that I'm most looking forward to. I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to, oh my gosh, what show are they putting out there? There's a show, having brain fog, but the show that, oh my gosh, I just announced it. Prince. So I'm excited for that. So I enjoyed Prima, but I think I enjoyed Prima because of the food and drinks. At the time, it was the Donna Summer show. It was really good. The Donna Summer show was really good, but I think there wasn't a lot to do, and that's my biggest complaint with Norwegian. But overall, I enjoyed it. We'll see what Aqua does, but I will be on Aqua here soon. Let's see here. Travel Cake Trip says all of this information is very useful. Absolutely. Appreciate you asking questions. Anisha says, can you add on flights after the final payment date? You can, but you have to pay for it when you add them. So yeah, so we were talking about adding on flights. You can add on flights to your cruise, but you have to pay it up front at that point. Welcome in, Philanese Travel Spree. Appreciate you being here. And the 134 of you guys watching, appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with us, or with, I keep saying us, with me, midday on this Monday for our cruise Q&A. We will go live every Monday when I'm not cruising to answer any cruise questions that you have. Thank you so much, Living Life Blind, for subscribing. Greatly appreciate that. We are on the road to 50,000 subscribers. So if you would mind, if you are new here and you're just watching, consider hitting that subscribe button. We have over 1,500 cruise vlogs on our channel. Been on 65 cruises, lots of content, a lot of informative, fun content for you guys. And we have quite a few cruises this year. So I appreciate you guys being here. I'm going to spend a little bit more time answering some questions you have. And we're going to call it a chat. Blonde Brit says, I watched your Greek cruise. It looked amazing on Celestial. Was it expensive? Good question. So first off, we do have a group going to Greece in August. So I was super excited to, I was super excited to be in Greece. Celestial Cruises is a Greek cruise line. It was very affordable for me, considering the destination. So Celestial Cruises is an older cruise line. They only have 2 ships, Celestial Journey, Celestial Discovery. Celestial Journey is a 30-year-old ship, but if you watch my video, it doesn't quite show its age, except for like some of the cabins weren't really updated. But you really aren't getting on that ship for the ship. You're getting on that ship for the itinerary. And if you guys missed that series, be sure to check it out. I picked up the cruise in Athens, Greece. I went to Thessaloniki, went to Santorini, Milos, Greece. Oh my gosh, Mykonos. Where else did I go? Couple other spots. I don't know. It was an amazing time. So amazing that I have a group going with us, the whole family, in August. So we're excited for that. But Celestial, I would definitely say if you're planning to cruise the Greek Isles, I would definitely recommend Celestial for that reason. There are other cruise lines going to Greece, but why I selected Celestial, one was because of the itinerary. I'm more about the itinerary than the ships. And there are other ships that go, but sometimes their itineraries aren't as robust. And for me, having 7 days, 6 ports, that's right at my speed. Whereas some other ships might have 7 days and only 4 ports or 3 ports. That's why I went with Celestial, and they're definitely affordable. Let's see. See it what C says, definitely. I agree. Each line has a time and place for whatever you need. Yeah, and I think I'm kind of going through that stage where I've cruised so much that the new cruise lines or cruise lines new to me are very exciting. And so I think that's where Virgin Voyages kind of came back. And if you guys watched my first one from 2 or 3 years ago, I just thought it was way too raunchy for my style. And yeah, just didn't care for it. But I think now I'm to the point where, okay, I've done a lot of family cruising. I've done this. I'm okay with the adult vibe. I'm okay with it being a little bit more relaxed. But like right now, I'm craving a Carnival cruise because I haven't been on Carnival since July. So I'm craving a Carnival cruise, and I just had to cancel a Carnival cruise. So yeah, it's a time and place. Sometimes you just have a vibe and you want to certain, yeah. Ingrid says best cruise line for Alaska and why. Now, the top rated cruise line for Alaska currently is Princess. They're kind of neck and neck with Holland America. And that is because they offer very, very immersive experiences in Alaska, and they touch on areas of Alaska that other cruise lines usually don't. And that's because they've been in Alaska the longest. They offer cruise tours where you can extend your Alaska vacation by adding on stays like in the Yukon Valley, and cool places that you can be off the ship and actually go and do Alaskan things. So they're really known for that. They bring environmentalists on board the ship to talk throughout the cruise about Alaska. They'll point out, wildlife. A lot of their tours, like particularly Princess, they partner with Discovery Channel. So a lot of their tours are things that you might have even seen on the Discovery Channel. So they are ranked number one for Alaska, followed by Holland America. If you're looking to cruise through, and I apologize, guys, my brain is a lot foggy today because I'm still getting over sickness. But if you're trying to go a Glacier Bay, a lot of times their itineraries will go through Glacier Bay, whereas some other ones, or the Inside Passage, where other cruise lines may not touch some of those areas. So that is why they are ranked number one, number two in Alaska. I do have plans to get on Holland America for Alaska soon. I did sail Princess to Alaska once, but it was a shorter cruise. I do want to get back on Princess for Alaska, but those are the top two. Now, our family will be on Royal Caribbean for Alaska. The only reason we selected Alaska, and we're going in June, the only reason we selected Royal Caribbean was because having kids, and we are doing a group cruise. We have a small group joining us on board. We wanted something to be more family friendly ship, and that's why we're going to be on board Quantum of the Seas. But honestly, any cruise line going to Alaska is going to be amazing. We did Carnival, which is one of our top watch series, is Alaska. We had an amazing time. You're going to still get a very similar experience as far as the views, especially if you're a first time cruiser to Alaska. It's probably a lot more affordable than Princess or Holland. So don't say, well, I'm not going to cruise Alaska to Carnival. I'm not going to cruise to Alaska on Carnival or Royal because they're not really known for it, because you're going to still have an amazing time. And speaking of that, MSC is going to be cruising Alaska starting next year, as well as Virgin Voyages. So MSC Poesia, I think that's how you say it. I will be on the first sailing of that going to Alaska next May, I think May 11th or May 16th. But yeah, any cruise line going to Alaska is a good one. But the top ranked ones are Princess and Holland America. Welcome in, Keelings Travel. Appreciate you being here. Michelle says, so NCL being slower, more relaxed, isn't that similar to Holland and Princess? I'm going to say it's slightly different because I don't think NCL, for me, at least the sailings that I was on, they, as far as like the shows, they were very limited in the shows that they offered. They didn't have much lively entertainment like in the evening, like live music, musicians, things like that. They had like some games and things like that, but it wasn't. So Holland America and Princess, they're going to have a lot of live music. Holland America, they had the BB King Blues area, which I absolutely love. So I feel like I felt like Holland and Princess was actually more lively than NCL, but it could have been the ships that I was on. Like I said, I'm going to give them another try here soon on the new ship, so on Aqua. But welcome into everyone that's watching. We appreciate it. I'm going to take about 5 more minutes and we're going to get out of here. Thank you so much, Camille. Says, I enjoy your channel. You have good information. Well, we appreciate that. And you said you went on 3 cruises. That's awesome. Welcome in, Owen, watching on Facebook. Appreciate you being here as well. Charlene says, I'm excited about the Sisters Cruise for 2026. If you guys don't know, we are doing a Sisters Cruising Abroad June 12th through the 19th on board MSC World Europa. This is a ladies' trip, a girls' trip, and it kind of was inspired by our Mediterranean series where my sister Cheryl, my sister Regina, my sister-in-law Ebony, we went to the Mediterranean for the very first time, last year or the year before, and had an amazing time on board MSC. And we decided, we're gonna have a group. We've had quite a few people reach out to say, hey, are you guys doing this again? We would love to join you. And I think right now we're up to 15 cabins booked. So if you want to join us next year out of Barcelona on board MSC World Europa, which is the sister ship to MSC World America, reach out. We could definitely get you guys booked. And you must be booked with our agency in order to join in on our, because we're going to have pretty much an excursion per port. We're not leaving anyone behind. So this is going to be a group cruise where pretty much every port we're going to have something planned as a group so we can kind of travel together. Everything's optional. But it's going to be a good time. Let's see here. Travel Cake Trip says, can you talk about activities the cruise lines have to offer that are best for sea days? It's hard to say what's best for sea days because it depends on your sea day style. Some people love sea days to sleep in. Some people like sea days to just eat. So they were kind of bouncing around. So you'll have like sea day brunches. You can find like food samplings that you might pay an upcharge for. You might have drink tastings like wine tastings, mixology classes. So it really just depends on your style. Some people want to just be on a quiet deck and relax. So you could go to like the adults only area or the solarium to relax. Some people want the action of the pool deck. So they're like literally on the pool deck all day long because they're going to have activities, game shows, DJs, things like that out there. But then you're also going to find that most cruise lines will offer some sort of like bingo, some sort of seminars. You have the casinos. I mean, there's a lot to do on a sea day. Everyone has a sea day style. For me, my sea day is usually going to any like of the little shows they may have, maybe some trivia. I'm not a pool deck person, so you're not really going to find me on the pool deck other than if they're doing like a dance party or something like that. But you're not going to find me lounging ever on a pool deck unless it's shaded. But yeah, so as far as sea day activities, there's a lot to do on a ship on a sea day. It really just depends on your style. Thank you so much, Regina, for popping in and saying hello. And speaking of Carnival Sunrise, someone asked about Carnival Sunrise. Regina, she's the Travel Savvy Hub on YouTube. She just posted a sunrise video yesterday, so I enjoyed that. Let's see here. Raina says, welcome in, Raina. Appreciate you being here. Says, hi, RacQuelle. What is your favorite all-inclusive offered on Carnival Celebration, Amber Cove, or Celebration Key? First off, Celebration Key is not open yet. It's going to open this July, which we have another group going on Carnival Conquest that will be one of the first sailings going to Carnival Celebration. So that's not available yet, and it's not all inclusive. So Amber Cove is not either. So if you're speaking of like a cruise line private island, I'm going to say Royal Caribbean has probably one of the best private islands where you can have, you'll have food. You're not going to have drinks and things included, but you're going to have food included. There's plenty of activities, things that you can do free. I do have a port guide for Perfect Day at Coco Cay. I personally like Half Moon Cay, which is Carnival's private island. It's just truly a beach day. It is beautiful. Like the water looks like a pool. It's amazing. But as far as like Carnival's celebration, the Celebration Keys, Amber Cove, those are not inclusive. And Celebration Key is not open yet, but we will have content once it's available for guests. Queen of Wands says, if you book a cruise solo, do you pay for two drink packages? No. So if you book a cruise solo, the only thing you're paying double for would be your cruise fare. So you're not even paying double taxes, fees, port expenses, or gratuities. You're only paying double cruise fare. Drink packages, Wi-Fi, all of that, you're just paying for one. Let's see here. India says, hello, everyone. I have a question. When you get travel insurance, do you get the insurance from the cruise line as well as separate insurance? That's honestly a personal preference. You don't necessarily need it. It just depends on the coverage levels and what you feel comfortable with in the event something happens. If you have other insurance, you definitely want to make sure. I'm sorry, if you have the cruise line's insurance, you're covered for the most part. A lot of times having the separate insurance will help cover you in the event that the cruise line's insurance doesn't cover you fully. There was a story that just happened. I've been seeing it come across where there was a guy on NCL, I think. We keep talking about NCL today. $47,000. He had the flu like I have right now. He had the flu, got on board. He had NCL's insurance and they didn't cover his full bill. So that's where having that secondary insurance could help cover some of that, but it's not necessary. It's not necessary, but it depends on what you would be willing to fork out in the event of an emergency. Thank you, Colleen. Appreciate you. Satin Jazz Lady says, can't wait for the Greece cruise. Yes, can't wait to meet you. Let's see here. Living Life Blind says, my son and I are back from our Carnival cruise. Thanks to your info. We had a great time. Well, I'm glad you had a great time as a mother and son. Marjorie says, do flights need to be paid all at once or can they be paid monthly? If you add on the flight well before your cruise, final payment is due, you can pay monthly. Once you make your payment, it goes directly to the total of your cruise, which includes your flights. If you book flights after the fact, I mean, you can't pay monthly on flights for the most part, but there are programs like Uplift. So I keep saying Uplift. It's not called Uplift anymore. It's called FlexPay. Our agency offers FlexPay, and you can use FlexPay. People don't understand this. It's not just for the cruise. You can use FlexPay for flights. You can use it for insurance. You can use it for excursions and things like that. So if you are someone that likes to, get booked and make payments over time, then FlexPay is a good option. You could also use on your own, like Affirm. There's a couple other things I think you can use to kind of help, budget that way if you choose. Usually flights have to be paid up front, but you can make payments if you choose one of those programs. Welcome in, Robin 407. Appreciate you being here. We've sailed on Princess and Norwegian boat to Alaska. We prefer Norwegian. Nice. And see, guys, everyone has a preference. So I'm telling you based on my experience or what I know to be as a travel advisor, but everyone has their own preference on what they like. Queen of One says, hey, David Ruffin. Yeah, David Ruffin's our dog. Tom Brady says, hello from Coral Princess as we cross the Panama Canal. Well, awesome. Have a great time. That's a cruise that I have not done yet. Simply Honey says, I would like to book the Sisters Cruise. Yes, definitely. If you go on our website, majoradventurestravel.com, you will see the flyer there. There's a QR code. You can scan that to get booked when you're ready. Let's see here. Felicia Bell says, my first cruise had motion sickness really bad. I've since gotten the patches. Anything else you recommend? Always have the patches. And the thing about seasickness is you need to be proactive with it, meaning put the patches on before the cruise, change them out like every 2 days. Don't wait until there is motion. You want to make sure that you kind of get that into your system beforehand. I also say have the non-drowsy Dramamine. Don't do the drowsy because it'll make you sleepy. You can't enjoy your cruise. So the non-drowsy Dramamine, and then green apples. Green apples help, and someone said licorice helps as well. And then there are also candies like ginger candies and things that you can pack that you can kind of suck on. That'll help if you start feeling that way. Is it Nota Flocka? Welcome in. It says Half Moon Cay have food. Yes, they do. They do have food. It's island barbecue, burgers, hot dogs. Do they have ribs? I think I haven't been there in a minute. Ribs, corn, salads and things. So yeah, they do have food at Half Moon Cay. Let's see here. My daughter is traveling with us, making it three. I'm sorry. My daughter travels with us, making it 3 for MSC in a room. We all need the internet. Is it only 2 per room? Good question. If you are booking MSC's drinks and Wi-Fi promotion, and they just changed this mid last year, where if you have 3 or 4 in the cabin, now, though it advertises as drinks and Wi-Fi included, but it's only for the first 2 guests. So the drinks are for everyone. So if you have 4 adults in your cabin, all adults get the drink package. It's built into your price. But the Wi-Fi, it's 2 devices per cabin. So if you have multiple guests that will need devices, then someone will have to pay to add on a device. But yeah, it's only 2 devices of internet per cabin, regardless of how many's in the cabin, but everyone that's booked in the cabin will have the drink package. The Sweet Life says, is Half Moon Cay included or is it considered an excursion? Half Moon Cay is a private island, so it is actually a port of call for Carnival and also Holland America and sometimes Princess Cruises. Um, it is not considered an excursion. In fact, there's not many excursions you can take on Half Moon Cay because it is a beach stop. So Half Moon Cay, I'm sorry guys, it's been a minute since I've been to Half Moon Cay. It's not considered an excursion. They will have excursions such as like so you can go snorkeling by boat, you can do a glass bottom boat, they will have stingrays, but most people get off and just go to the beach. It's beautiful, but you have to take a water taxi over. So this is something you need to know if you are visiting like Half Moon Cay or Princess Cay, that you need to get a water shuttle ticket to get on the water taxi. It is complimentary, it's included. I personally recommend getting up early to get the tickets. That way you can get on the water taxi early. The earlier you get on, the better spot you're going to get on the beach. And I like to get off, enjoy the beach, and get back on before the crowds. Um, if you are high status with Carnival, they will leave passes in your cabin. You don't have to worry about it. But otherwise, usually by the coffee shop or one of the lounges, like on the promenade deck somewhere, they'll leave a notice to say, hey, the morning of your Half Moon Cay, then you need to go here to pick up your water taxi. And then it'll tell you like a number, and that's the time that you go to the water taxi. But it is not an excursion. It is actually a port of call. Welcome in, Leanne Travel. Appreciate you being here. Tom says, I heard that MSC does not allow switching devices. That is true. That is true. So I have to get 2 devices whenever I cruise MSC. So I always, like, if I get the drinks and Wi-Fi with my promotion, if I'm going solo, I'd still add on another device because I need Wi-Fi on my phone and my computer because I do work when I cruise. So it says, would you have to get 2 if you planned? Yeah, you have to get 2 devices. But if you're cruising, yeah, or sometimes, for instance, if we're cruising, well, before they had where you could only have 2 devices, like we might have had 4 of us in a cabin, the kids weren't using Wi-Fi, so I would just use theirs. But now it's 2 per cabin. Um, if you have 2 or more, if you're one person, you're not getting 2 devices, you're still getting 1 device. Thank you so much, Mammy. Says, don't forget to hit the like button. I appreciate that. And I think we are at the bottom of the chat. So we are going to end it there. That was awesome, guys. Again, if you are just now tuning in, go back and hit replay. Just answer some questions that you guys have about cruising. This is our Monday Midday Cruise Q&A. I will go live every Monday when I'm not traveling to answer any questions that you may have about cruising. I appreciate you guys popping in and joining today. If you guys could be sure you're subscribed to our channel. We are again on the road to 50K. We want to reach as many people as we can to help people learn how to cruise efficiently, fun things you can do while cruising, family cruising, solo cruising, all of that. So we would appreciate you guys sharing us out, subscribing, liking this video, dropping a comment once this video posts. But I appreciate you guys all being here for this Monday Midday. Now, tomorrow we were scheduled for a cruise chit chat, but we have a basketball game tomorrow. So that won't happen. So I will see you guys Friday for a TGI Friday vlog premiere. If you are new here, happens every Friday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We will release a vlog. We are moving on to Celebrity Silhouette. So we wrapped up Allure of the Seas. We are moving on to Celebrity Silhouette, and I think it's going to be a 1-part series. I think I'm going to put it all together if I can, make it a 1-part series. So pack your popcorn and drinks for Friday because it'll probably be an hour-long premiere, and then we're going to move on to MSC Virtuosa, which is going to be an amazing series where I was out of Martinique and went to some amazing ports. So stay tuned for that, and make sure you have the notification bell on because I do have a pop-up trip happening really soon and you want to know where I'm going to be headed. So turn on the notification bell and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. We're trying to get TikTok back though. So go follow us there. We'll be back soon. But appreciate you guys being here. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Monday and we will see you guys next week. Take care.